Hey guys, welcome back to the Telecom Talk Show. Today we have with us Mr. Dhananjay Ganjoo. He's the MD for F5 India. So Dhananjay, first of all, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you feeling today?
Hey, thanks very much for inviting me tonight. I'm delighted to be on this show, and hopefully I can provide some enriching details to you.
Okay, so Dhananjay, I would like to start off this conversation by, talking about the next big thing in the technology world. And it is, as we both know, 5G. 5G launch is not so far away in India. And, a lot of people are excited about the technology, but they don't know a lot about it. So, in the simplest manner, how do you think 5G will revolutionize India?
First of all, I'm hoping that 5G will be made a little affordable so that so if it's affordable, then the subscriber cost will also be lower. But let me take you a generation back or two generations back when we were 3G or 4G, and why did we move from 3G to 4G? What's the need for 5G so that we can really appreciate why there is 5G and what changes it will bring to maybe the common man and businesses as well. So when we were doing 2G, it was good for voice, and we felt that it's not good enough for data. And then we got 3G, it was good enough for data. And of course, it had enough bandwidth for voice. But in data, it was maybe good for voice, but not for videos. And then we thought, hey, let's wait for the next big thing. And the next big thing then became 4G. If you look at it, do you get decent data and do you get decent video and decent voice on your phone? The answer to that is yes. The current 4G technology for B2C consumption is enough and more for all sorts of videos that you're watching on the go, all sorts of multimedia calls that you're doing between your offices. That's actually enough. You don't really need another big speed or another big bandwidth. What 5G will enable then on the B2C side. So let me expand on that. Let's say you try to do augmented reality, or you try to do virtual reality, or you do 3D hologram. 4G is not meant for that bandwidth. So one of the bigger business boosts that we will receive is augmented reality based use cases will come up, hologram based use cases, closer interaction between a hologram and doctor looking at a patient, all that kind of stuff will happen. Robotics will get a boost. So if you are an enterprise company and you have robotics in manufacturing, that will get a boost in terms of faster decision making for your robotics processes to happen faster, maybe in manufacturing. I feel medicine will benefit immensely because the doctors will be able to peer into your mouth remotely than what they can do today, for example. Or if you have a very complex, large image that the doctors have to see that used to take a long time to transmit, will be instantaneous. And the experience between remote diagnostics will become that much easier. So that's another industry. Telemedicine will get a massive boost with what 5G can bring to the table. There'll be a lot of AI, ML based, artificial intelligence and machine language based use cases that we'll start seeing getting deployed in the country. That will, again, get a massive boost. There is 4G can manage M2M as much machine to machine communication, but we will start moving apps, and we can, take this up separately or in this show. We will start moving apps from a closed, bigger data center and disaggregate the data center into smaller edges from where applications can be provided. So I believe 5G will have more enterprise use cases than retail use cases.
Okay. Right, Dhananjay, I sort of agree with you there. Even I believe 5G will have more B2B use cases than what it is relevant for consumers initially. While we understand that 5G is going to be the better generation technology over 4G, but what do you think will be the new security challenges that come along with it?
The security challenges will become that much more accentuated. And for that, you need to understand how the networks are constructed today vis-a-vis how the network will be constructed when we move to 5G. In today's network, there are, well, in a telecom network, there are two domains at play. One domain is the radio domain that takes the signal from a mobile phone. Towers will backhaul it into a core network. The packet core will process that and make sure the right person is then reached. And in between, there is a lot of processing that happens. That itself, the whole journey itself is now packetized and needs to be protected. So that is. And then on the other side is the IT network of a telco, which has got all its 400 applications that are running to make the telco alive, keep the telco alive, and they need to be protected. What kind of protections? You need of course, you need layer 3 protection for your firewall inside a data. You need layer 3. After layer 3 is layer 4 to layer 7 protection, which is all web application firewall. So your applications need to be protected. The thing that we are noticing today is, along with application protection, which is mostly signature based, we need to enhance that because we're seeing a lot of automation attacks come through. So hackers don't come in by themselves physically. They actually use machines to automate their attacks. Sometimes not just operators, but larger enterprise companies don't realize that there is automation happening. And they are building bigger and wider networks thinking that their bandwidth requirements are more because there is more traffic coming in, sometimes not realizing the traffic is actually spurious and we can drop that traffic. So along with layer 4 to layer 7 protection, bot protection with AI-based intelligence is extremely necessary. Of course, there is a lot of DDoS protection that you require both on-prem and off the cloud if that is the need for the operator. What is happening is with 5G, there is, from an appliance-based proprietary protocols that were used in 4G, and I'll rattle off a few, 3GPP, MQTT, SIP diameter. These are some of the protocols that are used inside the network side of a telco on the 5G side. 5G is a disaggregated piece of application. 5G is nothing but a piece of software. In other terms, it's just an application. So moving from proprietary appliance-based proprietary protocols to an application. And on what are we basing this network architecture on? Kubernetes and maybe similar containerized technologies like Docker Swarm or Docker Swarm or Kubernetes. The requirement of that is very different from the requirement of the older generation technology. But will the operators switch one and switch off the other? It won't happen. This will be a journey that the operators will be on. The 4G network will continue to work. The 5G network will add benefit. But at some point in time, they need to connect the 4G network to the 5G network, which means HTTP2, which is typically the protocol on the 5G side, on the Kubernetes side, needs to speak with the protocols that have been used till date, 3GPP, MQTT, SIP diameter, and a couple of others. F5 provides that translation between the two and keeps the system going. And there is a gradual transformation that we feel will happen over a period of 12 to 24 years or 24 months before a larger footprint of 5G takes over. So not only security, there is a lot of protocol translation work that will be required to help the operators move from one to the other. There's an interesting quote I received, or when we were having a discussion. For the operator, there is no stepney. It's like a car. The car has to continue moving, and if a tire has to be changed, it has to be changed while the car is still moving. That's the analogy for an operator. Nothing can ever go down. Everything continues to work even during transitions.
That makes a lot of sense, Dhananjay. So thank you for the insightful answer. Well, Dhananjay, what is F5 doing in the security area, and how can it help telcos in securing their networks with 5G?
Well, there were several things. Let's start with DPI, deep packet inspection. When a packet comes into a telco wants to treat that packet with certain policies. We can strip that packet off, decrypt it, let the various technologies read that packet, take the right decisions, and then we can route that packet, to a proper destination. So deep packet inspection, layer 4 to layer 7 web application firewalls, API protection and API gateways. One of the operators I know uses about 2 trillion API calls in a year. That's a massive amount of API calls that are happening in an operator, right? So we provide technology on the API gateway side, API security side. Of course, there is carrier grade netting. On one side is IP4, other side is IP6, and you want to connect these two networks together, or you want to protect your domain name servers, DNS and DNS security. We provide that. There is layer 3 firewall. And there is a lot of bot protection for there is all the automation that is coming into the subscribers. There is a lot of automation protection that we provide through our Shape Security product line. So there are solutions that we provide on the network side, that is all the RAN side that comes into the packet core. And there are solutions that we provide to the application side that is running the whole operations together. So these two aspects, and we have these solutions. Lately, what we have also done is with the launch of our distributed cloud services, we are now able to offer the same solutions of our own cloud as a SaaS platform than discrete products that are sitting inside the operator. So we are giving newer consumption models to our set of operators globally.
Okay. So Dhananjay, as technology is advancing, networks are getting more and more complex day by day. So how do you think zero trust security model and WAAP can work here to help telco secure or enterprises secure their networks?
So WAAP, as it's known as WAAP, which is Web Application and API Protection. So both WAF and API combined. So what we have done, Tana, is that we have used the 15 years of experience that we have in web application and API protection. And we have now produced on our SaaS platform a recommended configuration. Earlier, what our customers had to do was go through and have highly technically trained people to deploy a web application firewall. And it used to take a few days to weeks before the firewall was kept in the learning mode, and then the web application firewall was turned into the blocking mode. The whole intent of the WAAP business is to prevent attacks to happen. So the WAAP comes in, learns over a couple of days, weeks, and then stops all the attacks that are happening on the application side, not on the network side. That's the business of the WAAP. With the launch of the distributed cloud services, let me digress here. When you deploy any application on your, say, a Windows laptop, right, there you get an option, recommended, click, 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 and in 30 seconds, that application is deployed. Or you have the choice of doing custom because you deeply understand the technology that you're deploying, and then you take custom configuration. The choice is yours. We have done the same. We have removed complexity from all the security parameters that you have on the web application firewall and API protection side. We have removed the veneer of complexity completely. Now, when you onboard an application so that we can protect it, you have a recommended choice, which actually has about 400 policies that we have seen commonly deployed over the last 1.5 decades that we have been in the WAF business. Either you choose that and go in the learning mode quickly, and we can onboard in less than 5 minutes what used to take weeks, or you actually know what you want out of the custom-based configuration, and you take that. I've had scenarios where I have been challenged by the customer because they've never seen something like this before, where we have taken up the challenge and said, we'll onboard your application instantaneously. I haven't seen anybody do that in the industry today. So whether that is a telco on whose applications that we have to onboard, or whether that is any large enterprise in any vertical in India, this service is now available.
So Dhananjay, how are edge deployments, really helping gamers and streamers get things quicker and better for their experience?
Well, that I hope 5G with disaggregated core will enhance that experience even better for the gamers. A lot of, let's say, operators or either by themselves or third-party gaming companies using the network infrastructure and reach of the operators are providing gaming experience to the people, the end consumer who are consuming the games. However, there are two ways to look at this problem to make the experience better. One is I replicate that content in certain areas of the country, and I am limited to the replication to only those areas where I can put my media servers in. I have built, suppose, I'm a provider, I have built 10 areas in which I have the capability of onboarding the media servers so that the gamers can, I'm going closer to the gamers, right? On the other hand, what if I'm a big telco and I have thousands of points of presence? Can I take my application closest to the end user? So not just the media, which is static, but when you have media, which is constantly changing in the case of a gamer, you want to take the application itself closest to the end user. So with distributed cloud services and the customer edge technology that we have built, which is nothing but infrastructure as a code, right? We can now utilize the POPs or points of presence of large telcos, and they have built not just tens, hundreds, they've built thousands of those across the country. They require very small footprint. Infrastructure as a code is, as I said, a code. It is not a massive appliance. So I can put that code closest to the end user where the gamer may be, and then put the application on top of that, enabling the application to come closer to the end user rather than only the media and the application keeps on lying, the logic of the application. So the whole Edge 2.0, as we call it, the game plan is changing from the application concentrated on the core and receiving all requests to the application itself getting multiplied in thousands of locations to bring better gaming experience to the end, to the gamers.
Okay. Thank you, Dhananjay. That will be all from my side. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, if your listeners are very interested, I can give a couple of very interesting use cases that we don't really think about, but at the end of the day are actually complex to execute. I can give you simple examples like what happens when you make a phone call on the mobile and you receive a callback tone.
Okay.
That is a fairly complex path. If you want me to, I can do that.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please let us know about
so
that. Yeah.
And there is another use case. All the SMSs that we receive, we think it's a simple, straightforward technology, but on the back end, the telcos are really putting high-end stuff to make that simple technology available to you. Let me start with callback tunes or tones. So when you call within, suppose you call within an operator's network, in that network the operator has made sure that the codec they have used for that media to play back is the same codec. Could be narrowband, wideband, G729. These are the codecs that are typically used for callback, either a tone, ringtone, or a song. So the songs are lying in a media server. The network picks up the song and plays it. Within the same network of the operator, it doesn't require massive protocol translation. But suppose network A calls into network B and network B uses a different codec. This translation is fairly complex because narrowband on one side and G729 on the other side need to listen to each other and be transmitted. While apparently it's instantaneous and you don't realize it, but there is a lot of technology happening at the back end to do this translation between the codecs. That's one use case. Second, and even more interesting use case is, we have this character limitation of 160 when you receive an SMS. But these days you're seeing SMSs are long and lengthy, and you don't stop after 160. You keep on typing when you type an SMS. Telemarketers send you SMSs which are really long and now have pictures embedded in them, right? How is that possible? Because the SMS length has not changed with an operator. It's still 160. So what the operators have done is they've put multiple servers, and F5 technology kind of load balances those servers. And the other important part is provides it the right sequencing. So you don't receive an SMS which is garbled. You receive an SMS which is sequence A, sequence B, sequence C, and then hence. So while it is 160 characters, the servers do sequencing properly, and you receive a full 160 times more characters on your phone, but the technology behind is fairly complex. And then the telemarketers have to go back to their customers to prove that this SMS was actually delivered. And then hence the responsibility on the telco to provide an acknowledgement receipt to the telemarketers so they can take and bill in a bank for whom they may be doing telemarketing. So this technology, while it's fairly straightforward, you're receiving an SMS, at the back end, there is complex multiple servers. Imagine the rate of SMSs going up. Can the telcos continue to deploy server after server after server? That business model is not viable. So you have to use technology that picks up a server that is free at that moment in time and provides that server for SMS to be sent or received, and then sequences the other bits of the SMS so that it reaches the right destination in the right sequence. Fairly complex, but looks very simple. I thought I'll just leave your listeners with these two very interesting use cases that we use every day, but there is a lot of complexity behind the scenes.
That was really interesting to learn, Dhananjay. Even I did not know about that. So thank you. And thank you for your overall time, Dhananjay. I hope that all of us who are listening to this podcast or watching this video on YouTube will get a lot to learn. Okay, I'll fairly go back and listen to this conversation again, because there's a lot of insightful information here, which I couldn't get it right away. So thank you for that, and hope to do more such conversations in the future.
Absolutely. Look forward to that, Tanay. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.